Life Unrehearsed on CJD 800, brought to you by alavida.ca. Celebrate a life well lived before or after death.
And in my heart you'll always stay forever young.
And welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Matt Delvecchio, specializing in free retirement, home search, and senior transition support. Here in studio with my co-host Corrie Sirota, clinical social worker and psychotherapist specializing in grief and loss. Corrie, I would imagine you're a little hungry after that beaver tail segment.
I was kind of hoping for a sample, but well, anyways, so now I guess I'm just going to have to go find it myself. But they are lovely people. Lovely people.
Amazing family.
It's no surprise that they are as successful as they are. Just meeting them, they're so warm and friendly, kind of like eating a beaver tail.
Exactly.
Anyway, you know what I just saw also again, Matt, Mr. Speaker Extraordinaire, that you are doing yet another presentation, which is so exciting and so good because they're so important. You're speaking at the Graham?
Yeah, no, thanks. And we are indeed privileged. So my wife, Stephanie Cadu, and I, we do some public speaking on senior living and transition trends. And we were invited to speak at the Graham. This is open to the public. It's a free conference on September 5th. That's this Wednesday at 2 o'clock at the Graham, 1935 Boulevard Graham. We're going to be talking about why is it becoming so popular in terms of senior living and dealing with that dreadful downsizing and transition process, and how do you maximize the value of your home. So it's one we've done often, and we're very pleased to be able to present at the Graham.
It's interesting that you say that. I'm sure it's going to be wonderful, and I don't know that people often realize how fortunate they are to be seniors and making that transition. As we sit in studio today with Elayne Weigensberg, mom of Shane Weigensberg, who died in a motorcycle accident just 15 weeks ago. Elayne is here because she's on a mission. She wants to talk about how risk-taking affects the entire family and what she has chosen to do about it. So very much welcome to the show, Elayne.
Thank you.
I guess we have to start at the beginning for those of you who are listening and don't know. May 18th, 2018. Can you tell us what happened?
I think I'm going to start on May 17th because I like to remember May 17th because that's the last time I saw him and spoke to him, and he was here for us. He was here with us. So he came home from work. He works with my husband and my son. He's a mechanic, and he came home from work and he was going to the gym with my husband, and I didn't see him come in, but I saw him leave, and he put on his tank top and shorts, and he said, "Oh, my phone needs charging." I said, "Okay, so leave it here. We'll charge it, and then you'll pick it up after." And he said, "Oh, I have an idea." So he ran downstairs, got a charger, and he was out the door. Then he called me at 9:56 p.m. and he said, "Ma, Dad wants me home for midnight." He said, "But I'm not going to be home for midnight." He was in a great mood. He said, "I'm going to be home for 1 o'clock. I said, "Okay, Shaney." He said, "Okay, Ma, bye." Like really goofy, really in a great mood. We went to sleep. I actually thought I heard him come home at 2 o'clock in the morning. I wish I had. The phone rang at 4 o'clock, and it was the hospital telling us that we needed to get there right away. We were there probably in 10 minutes, and as soon as we walked in, there was the assistant head nurse and there was police there. They escorted us one way, and apparently we had come in the wrong door. We shouldn't have come in that door, because what we saw all the staff there, very stone-faced at the desk. And I looked at them and I said, "Oh my God, he can't be alive. He can't be alive. Look at their faces. Like, he can't." And then they took us into a room and they wanted us to wait for the doctor. My husband said, "No, I'm not waiting for... No, you tell me. I need to see him. You tell me now." And this lovely nurse said, "I'm sorry, he passed."
That's Elayne Weigensberg talking about the death of her son, Shane, several months ago in a motorcycle accident. And first of all, Elayne, I can't possibly imagine, and I want to thank you for being here and having the courage to be here live in studio to talk to us about a very important message that you do want to spread. And if we could be that venue for you, then so be it. And we're very, very pleased that we can do that. And I think as parents, and just listening, I think many, many parents can relate to just actually getting that call and having to make that hospital visit, you just can't possibly imagine. And you've talked so eloquently about children, and not even children, just young people and humans in general, about sometimes we go through these phases about being invincible, and it could be on a daily basis, monthly basis, and you're quite an advocate now. So what message do you want to send out there about the invincibility of people?
Shane would have never thought this could happen to him. He would have never thought, he would have never wanted it to happen to him. He was a risk taker. He liked to drive fast. He liked to race. He loved his motorized vehicles. He loved his Sea-Doos and his Ski-Doos and his cars and his motorcycles. He would have never thought that this could happen to him. Ma, I'm a professional, he would tell me. So, with this in mind, this can happen to you if you take unnecessary risks. Not only talking about the youth out there, I'm talking about adults too. How many of your friends just got lucky growing up? Mm-hmm. Some do and some don't, and my son did not. So
I think, as Matt said, we can all relate, and many of us have or were or parent the child who just seems or feels invincible. And so in knowing that, how do we help these kids curb their enthusiasm?
You know, that night, he was coming home. He was late. It was 3:00 in the morning. He should have been home earlier. He knew he was going to get hell for coming home that late. He had to work in the morning. He had to be at work 7, okay, his 8, whatever. But he had to be home, and he was driving too fast. Now, yes, he loved his speed. That night, he was driving too fast. He wanted to get home. Yes, he was speeding. But it was because he wanted to get home. But did he speed other times because he loved to speed? Absolutely. Did he speed on every type of vehicle he was on? Absolutely. So, I need all you guys out there to think. I need you to think about not speeding. Think about going slower so you have more reaction time. Think about not having a few drinks and being able to control yourself more. There's you on the road. There's other people on the road. I'd like you to take a few steps back when you're on a vehicle. Not even, also when you're doing something else. It doesn't have to be, it's on or off the roads. But the first step is to use your head. Guys, you're lucky enough to have heads and to be able to think. We're a family that has gone through hell and is going through hell. If I could say that on the air, I can. Okay, sorry. It's unbelievable for us. Shane is our son. He's an amazing son. He'll always be our son. He's strong. He's courageous. He's generous. He's helpful. He's sweet. He's funny. He's huge. There's so much to him, and we don't have him. And I need people to realize, to open dialogues with their family, to realize life can be short. Just help yourself to think so this doesn't happen to you and your families.
That's Elayne Weigensberg, the mother of Shane Weigensberg, who tragically lost his life in a motorcycle accident in May in the West Island, and is here to, you heard her, and you heard what she has to say. And Elayne, your eulogy, I have read it. It was incredible, and we have to head out to a traffic break here, but if you would be kind enough to read a portion of that eulogy, of that message that you so proudly said right during the eulogy, and I think it will resonate with a lot of people. But first, let's head to Lauren Glazer for a traffic update.
Life Unrehearsed on CJD 800, brought to you by alavida.ca. Celebrate a life well lived before or after death.
I will remember you. Will you?
And welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. Matt Del Vecchio here with Corrie Sirota, and we are in studio with Elayne Weigensberg, who lost her son in a tragic motorcycle accident in mid-May in the West Island. And she really does have the courage to be here in studio with us, giving advice to all of us, not just parents, not just kids, but to all of us. And Elayne, before traffic, we talked about your incredible eulogy. And would you mind sharing some of the words from your eulogy?
Absolutely. I did talk at length about Shane, and then I said this. Okay, guys, here it comes. Here's the grand memo. To all the young, invincible people here and everywhere, you can smoke too much weed. You can drink too many beers. You can drive too fast, and then that life wins. You don't get to have a future. You don't get to have children and watch them grow. You don't get to love the family that brought you into this world and nurtured you. Think before you act and take action before you choose. Do not do this to your family, friends, or to yourselves. Living life on the edge may have consequences, and sorry doesn't cut it. Please make choices so that you don't throw away your futures and your lives. We are a grieving family, and you may have the power to make sure the next story isn't about you. Think about it, and please, please, use your brains and be safe.
That says so much. And to think that you did that at your son's funeral. So can I ask you why you chose your son's funeral to share those words?
I had to. If I would have said nothing else, I would have had to have said that. Because a lot of kids don't think that they're doing anything wrong, but they are. Just watch your speed so that you have reaction time. If you have reaction time, you have more options. And you just, it's about wanting to grow old with your families. When you go out, think about that. What if you left the house and your mother said to you, this is the last time I'm going to see you? You know what? Think about that. Because I didn't think to say that. I would have never thought it either. But that's what happened. And we don't have him.
Elayne, it's, again, incredible that you're even here in studio telling us this story and the message that you want to get out there. You want to make it impactful. For those of you that happen to be watching the show on Facebook Live, you're looking for some strength even to do this. You were nervous coming into studio. You are wearing a necklace with your son's ring, and you are wearing a glove that your son was wearing in the accident, and to give you the strength that Shane would give you. And God bless. And, you know, to just reinforce the impact of the message you want to get out there, you've even posted photos of the accident, which I suppose to some might be controversial, but you've chosen that purposely. How come?
We got the bike and the helmet back from the coroner, and I went to see it a couple of days after it came back. And the bike was very smashed. I never liked motorcycles, but it's not about me not liking motorcycles. I need people to see what can happen when you don't obey the rules of the road. Shane was speeding. He went through 2 red lights. When you don't respect the rules of the road, you have no protection on a motorcycle, and he had no reaction time. So I needed people to see that this is real. It's real for him. It's real for our family. Look, dead is dead. You don't come back from dead, and your family has to deal with it. And it's impossible. It's killer. It's surreal. It's so hard. Just don't do that to your families. Think.
So there's all these invincible kids who think that it'll happen to someone else. You're sitting across someone who's also had her own share of tragedy in her life. And so I know that phone call and the shock, etc. Kids do think that it is someone else, so they're going to give pushback. You're sharing such vital advice, but kids will give you pushback. What do you suggest parents do with the pushback? It
doesn't matter. Let them push back. You know what? Scream, cry, do whatever you have to do. Have this conversation. Have it. There's no substitute for it. It doesn't, everybody can present an alternative and different points of view, but just generate the conversation and tell them that if they feel that they can't drive, you'll pick them up. If you can't pick them up, a friend will pick them up. Open it up to them. Let them see that life is not a party. Things happen, and things happen to people they know. Things happen to people they don't know. It's real. The family is never the same again. Do you want that for your families? Open it up. Open it up for them. My daughter actually has a saying, and for her it's think safe, act safe, be safe. And it's true. It's a progression. Just think about it first. Change your behaviors. If you know you could be safer, and then there's the possibility that you could be safer. But open it up. Don't just talk about it.
So even if you get pushback, get comfortable with the discomfort.
Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, it's so important to see Elayne Weigensberg here on Life Unrehearsed talking about what we can do. She experienced a terrible tragedy with the motorcycle accident with her son. Very quickly, Elayne, you some of your coping mechanisms and skills that you've had to deal with this. You tell us a little bit about the Shaney Bear.
Oh, well, I love my Shaney Bear. Shaney had his own Shaney Bear. And when this happened, I went into his room a little while later, and I looked at the Shaney Bear, and all of a sudden it came to me, my little nieces and nephews, 6 and 8 and 5, distraught, horrified, terrified. They didn't know what to do with themselves. So I said, wow, I'm going to buy these Shaney Bears. I'm going to have them made. I'm going to give them Shaney Bears. They cuddle them. They travel with them. They sleep with them. They hug them. It's for them.
Beautiful. What a beautiful way. Everything that you've done is so remarkable. And I know that you would rather be doing a lot of other things, but as life has it, as Life Unrehearsed has it, you are here, and thank God that you have chosen this path. I said it to you off air. Life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you choose to react to it. And so what you're doing is helping others, and that is, and I hope in turn by helping yourselves and your family.
Necessary.
Thank you so much for your time and your honesty and your courage. How do people get a hold of you?
They can message me, send me a private message on Facebook. I'm listed on Facebook as Elayne Weigensberg. So just send me a private message and I'll get back to you.
Elayne, thank you so much for being in studio with us.
All right, next week on Life Unrehearsed, join us as we learn about so many of the community resources available to you. You really don't need them until you need them. We'll have a couple of representatives from NOVA and the West Island Community Resource Center talking about their resources as well as the resources available to you across Greater Montreal. And we will also have 2 of the 6 incredible Montreal runners. You might have heard of these kids, incredible young men who ran from Montreal to Vancouver, over 4,600 kilometers in less than 30 days, all in the spirit of raising funds for different charities. They're going to be running again in the Terry Fox Run. So that's going to be next week, where you could listen to us on Life Unrehearsed every Sunday at 4 p.m. on CJD 800.